Welcome to Dunning Vineyards. I'm Bob Dunning, the winemaker here. We at Dunning Vineyards started about 1991, really looking to get a piece of property developed to make some, really nice, small production estate wines. Our goal was not to make large amounts of wine, but to make really the best we could do from our vineyard here. This is a property that's been in my family for over 45 years, and about 18 years ago, I began producing very small lots of wine from a neighboring vineyard, one of the first in this area on the west side of Paso Robles. And what I was initially excited about was the really high concentration of fruit and varietal flavor that came through. And what we found out is that the limestone calcareous soil here on the west side, which is really a very unusual soil type in California, it's very sparse, it's not in a lot of areas, and it creates a very good low-yielding vine and turns out to make just one of the best wines possible. So basically, back then, 15, 18 years ago, the wines we were producing was a white Chardonnay, and it really came out almost like a Burgundy style, a white Burgundy, if you've ever had a white Burgundy. It's really full and crisp, but it has this minerality running through it. And we basically tout that as being the calcareous limestone chalk rock that covers all these soils. Here we have, on this vineyard site, we have 16 acres. It ranges in elevation from 1,600 feet all the way down to 800 feet down here. So we got really diverse, in addition to soils, we have diverse microclimates. We have, at the very top of the hill, we have places where we can grow white grapes, Chardonnay. Down the slopes where they get steep, we do Zinfandel, Merlot, and Bordeaux varieties, Cabernet, Cab Franc. And on the bench land over here by the creek side, we're able to put Syrah, and does excellent there. So it's really an amazing area because the west side can really grow all these different varieties and have these different wine types, but all make them very well. And we combine the soil types, basically the calcareous limestone. The proximity to the ocean is really important. We get marine layer in the morning, burns off to these beautiful afternoons, and we get those high temperatures in the daytime, but as soon as the sun goes down, it drops down to 50 degrees. And that's really what you got to do to build acidity into the wines and the grapes to make really, stellar wines, and that's what we're trying to do, make really good wines. I'm going to walk down here in this Merlot vineyard, one of the first vineyards we planted here. As you can see, these vines are fairly small, and basically our philosophy is small vines, big wines. To get that real big concentration, you want to grow it a small vine. So we limit irrigation, we limit fertilizers. We really kind of grow in a very natural, organic way. All these vineyards are sustainably farmed and organically taken care of, so we use no pesticides, anything like that. The vines are small, but they produce really intensely flavored wines. Basically, if you look at these vines, they're farmed for pounds per vine rather than tons per acre. That's really our philosophy. So we basically look at the vine and each vine we treat a little differently. Some vines will leave a little bit more fruit, depending on how well it does. Other vines will reduce the fruit down to a certain level. So we're down to maybe, typically a vine like this in the Merlot will probably have 12 to 15 clusters. You could hang 30 or 40, but to really make high quality wines that express the terroir, you're going to have to keep that yield low. So we're at about 2 tons an acre on the average on the Merlot here. Here we are in the cellar room at Dunning Vineyards. We were talking earlier about small boutique wineries. This is how we ferment our lots. Each individual lot is picked as it gets ripe. Here in the winery, just in this small area, we have 7.5 tons of 2 different varieties. These 2 smaller bins, this is Merlot. We just harvested this 2 days ago, and the yeast has been added to this. The grapes are put under a crusher destemmer and crushed right directly into this. And then from here we add the yeast and we begin the fermentation. This particular one is just starting, the little berries are starting to rise to the surface as the fermentation starts to go. And over the next couple of days we'll continue to punch this down. And this way of punching down the skin, they call it, the skin is the grapes being pushed up by the alcoholic fermentation, is a way to naturally and gently, get the nice colors and tannins out of the fruit. So we use this manually. We do this every day, 3 times a day in every bin. So this is our Merlot, and you can see here it's just starting to go. Over here we have our Zinfandel. This is our estate reserve. We picked this at the ultimate of ripeness. These are almost ready to press. What we do now is take this into a press and extract off the wine that's underneath. This cap, as they call it, the skins raise up and they're called the cap, is pretty much ready to break down now. And we're pretty much done punching down. We won't do any more of that for a while. And in another day or two, as you can see, this is almost completed fermentation. The wine's very dark and intensely, the aromas just come up wonderfully. And we do this all like this. This is a half-ton fermenter. These are 1-ton fermenters. The bigger they get, the harder they are to punch. But it's a lot of fun. And we will be pressing this off, as I said. And in our production, is simply we press it to tank. When the wine's done, it settles for a couple of days, and then they go into small French oak barrels that we have here. These are all 60-gallon barrels, and the wine will go into here and spend the next 18 months of its life basically maturing and softening, and that's why we use small French oak barrels.